I want to preface this video by saying that I know I went a little past 100 days in this video, but I hope that doesn't keep you up at night and you can still watch the video. Also, after this, don't expect uploads like I have been consistently for the past like 2 weeks because school started and winter break is over, so it is just harder to do that, but I will still try my best to upload as often as possible with the same quality, if not better. Day 91, we're almost at day 100, so bear in there, but day 91 started with me heading back to the village and then making this villager into a librarian where I could trade paper and emeralds. So then I headed back home, farmed all of my sugarcane, turned it into paper, headed back to the village and traded my paper for emeralds with this librarian, which I didn't realize at the time locked my trades with the villager. So I was very confused as to why even after getting rid of the lectern, he was still a librarian. So just to make sure there was nothing else I could do after running out of ideas, I just ended up going to bed. The next morning I grabbed this brewing stand as well as this grindstone. I put this villager into a boat and unsuccessfully tried to get him into a building. Eventually I got this villager that was already in a building into a boat and tried to get a mending trade with him while also passing up really good trades like looting 3, but eventually we got mending and the villager sprinted out the door once he had the chance, so I ended the day to make sure he wouldn't die. Then I blocked them into this building and I checked what this wandering trader had to offer. It had some good trades but nothing I could afford right now, so then I headed back to my mending villager and found that because the lectern was far away for such a long time, it lost its mending trade. I trapped it back in the same building, however, and after a lot of trading, I got mending back, which was really lucky. Then I went back and ended the day. The next morning, I started building a path to connect these 2 houses so that I could get 2 villagers in the same building, and after luring this villager in here and trapping him in here, I gave the villagers bread and placed down a 3rd bed while I watched from the corner and they made a baby villager. Then I headed back home, planted sugarcane along the island, and then the next day I started off with fishing for a while, where I got a good bow and a mending fishing rod, but then I just kept fishing for even past that because I got a lot of XP from it. Afterwards I made a power 5 bow and flame bow and then I headed to bed. The next morning I tried to get as much sugarcane as possible, headed back to the village, bred the villagers again by giving them some more bread, then broke down this path that was connecting the 2 houses, and by the end of that I went to bed again. The next morning I came across these 2 villagers stuck in this hole, so I got them out of it. Then I mined this hay and used it to trade with this farmer villager. I bought my first mending book, I traded some more with this farmer, but regardless I didn't have enough emeralds for another one, so I headed back home. I put mending on my helmet and then went to bed. The next day I headed back to the village, traded with this farmer even more, and bought my 2nd mending book. Afterwards I headed home again and realized that putting mending on my pickaxe would be too expensive, and unfortunately the only way to fix that is to de-enchant it all the way, so that's what I did. So then I put mending on the pickaxe and efficiency 3. I farmed all the sugarcane again, made it all into paper, sheared the sheep, named this name tag chicken, and put it on one of my parrots outside. Then I went to bed. The next morning, I headed back to the village where I traded more paper, bred the villagers again, and then headed back. Once I got back, I headed straight into the nether and used the bed method to find more netherite, but after doing this for a while, I had no success. Although it is definitely 100% way more efficient to use the bed method. I headed back home, deposited all of my stuff, and then sheared the sheep again, worked on building this one to commemorate 100 days.
What do you think of that?
And then afterwards headed to this tower so I could do a design with like half yellow wool, half red wool. I ran out of red wool, so I had to shear the sheep some more. Made the time lapse of the sun because it just looked cool. And then I spent the rest of the night waiting for more sheep to grow and shearing them. And during this time, I also just want to thank you guys for 180 subscribers. That means I have doubled my subscriber count since I started making these Minecraft World series. So I am incredibly thankful for that. Thank you for everyone who has liked the videos, commented, subscribed, everything, watched it in general. And then I finally tried to finish it with the wool that I got, but I didn't have enough, so I panicked because the next day was starting. So I headed downstairs, grabbed the rest of the red wool, finished the wool, and then headed to the top of the staircase where I just looked into the sky and got ready for the next 100 days.
Wake up in the mornings with some gas, I feel lovely. Yo, this in my line, she keep saying that she love me. I can never love a bitch, my attitude